Don't bother showing up for Mom's birthday, my brother texted. We're doing immediate family only. You know, real children. I'd been adopted at age 3. I replied, have fun. What they forgot. Mom's credit card debt, $240,000, that I'd paid off over 3 years. I was on her credit card accounts. I called the bank. Take me off the account. When Mom tried to use her cards the following week. Have you ever received a text that just shatters you? One that makes you question everything you thought you knew about family? Mine landed like a punch to the gut. Don't bother coming to Mom's birthday. We're doing immediate family only. You know, real children. The words felt like a physical blow. My brain just froze. Real children. I'd been adopted at 3, but hearing it put so cruelly, so deliberately, still twisted something inside me. I was standing in a busy parking lot, the weight of my daughter's gift bag cutting into my fingers, when that text came through. Daniel, my brother, always the messenger of pain. I stared at the screen until the words blurred. Next to me, my daughter, Harper, bounced on her heels, clutching a handmade card she'd poured her heart into. She'd drawn a big, lopsided cake with crooked candles and written, "Happy Birthday, Nana," in bubbly letters, covering it in stickers like it was the most sacred document on earth. "Are we late?" she asked, peeking up at me with that careful, little look kids get when they sense the air has suddenly gone still. My throat went tight. My hands went cold around the phone. I typed one word back, "Enjoy." Then I locked my screen, as if that could lock the feeling away, too. We were already there. The restaurant, bright and loud, was right in front of us. Through the big glass windows, I could see my mom at the head of the long table, wearing the cream sweater I'd bought her last winter because she never treated herself. Daniel was there, leaning back in his chair like a king, his kids piling their plates with fries, and I could see my mom laughing. Every instinct screamed at me to turn around, to take Harper somewhere else and make it our night. But Harper squeezed the gift bag. "Can I give it to her quick? I want her to see the card." And so I did what I always did. I tried. We walked in. The host looked down at his list. "Name." "Christopher," I said. My voice sounded flat even to me. "Christopher Lane." He scanned the page again and again, as if my name might magically appear if he stared hard enough. "I'm sorry," he finally said. "I don't have that name." I glanced past him. Daniel saw me immediately. He didn't look surprised. He looked satisfied. He stood up, walked over, and stopped just far enough away that I couldn't pretend we were having a private conversation. He smiled, a sickeningly polite smile as if greeting a fan. "Chris," he said, loud enough for the host to hear. "What are you doing here?" Harper lifted her gift bag a little. "Hi, Uncle Daniel." He didn't even glance at her. I swallowed. Harper just wanted to give Mom her card. Daniel's smile didn't change, but his eyes did. They stayed hard, cold. "Yeah," he said, still loud. "Like I said, immediate family only." Then he nodded down at Harper's hands, like she was holding contraband. "You can leave it with the host if you want," he added. "But we're keeping it small for real family." Harper's face, it did something I hated seeing. It wasn't a dramatic cry. It wasn't a tantrum. It was that quiet collapse. The slow blinking. The way her shoulders dipped, like her little body was trying to shrink and disappear. She pulled the gift bag back against her stomach, protecting it. My hands started to shake. Not from rage, like in the movies, but from something worse. From raw, burning humiliation. Because this wasn't even new. This was just the first time they'd said it out loud, in public, like it was a normal policy. Like it was a reservation rule. I looked past Daniel at my mom. She saw us. She saw Harper. She saw the card in the bag. And she didn't get up. She didn't wave. She didn't even mouth a hi. She just lifted her glass, as if toasting the air, then turned back to her table. Daniel leaned in a little, like he was doing me a favor. "Don't make it weird," he murmured. "It's her birthday." I nodded once, because my body still remembered how to survive my family. Then I took Harper's hand and walked back out. We didn't run. We didn't make a scene. But I heard a couple of people inside glance over, then quickly look away, like they didn't want to be involved. Outside, the night felt suddenly too cold. Harper tried to be brave. I could tell, because her voice got overly cheerful. "It's okay," she said. "We can give it to her another time." I opened my car door, then paused. Harper climbed in and buckled herself, small and tidy, like she didn't want to take up any space. Then she whispered, "Did I do something wrong?" That was the moment something in me snapped into place. Not rage, clarity, because my family loved to act like they were all about tradition and values and togetherness. But the truth was simpler. They loved control and they loved my money. I was only immediate family when the bill came. I'm Christopher. I was 34 at the time, living outside Nashville in a house I'd bought with my own name on the deed, not anyone else's. I made my living as an influencer. I know how that sounds. People picture ring lights and vanity. What it meant for me was contracts, deadlines, sponsorships, analytics, and a lot of smiling on camera when I was exhausted. I built it from nothing. I built it after being told my whole childhood that I should be grateful anyone wanted me at all. I was adopted when I was 3. I don't remember the foster home. I don't remember the court day. What I remember is growing up in a house where adoption was treated like a favor I owed for the rest of my life. My mom would introduce me as our adopted one, like it was a fun fact. My dad would say, "We saved you," whenever I disagreed with him. And Daniel, my older brother, learned early that he could say almost anything to me because the adults would just laugh and tell me not to be sensitive. I married young, divorced quietly, and ended up a single dad to Harper by the time she was 5. Harper was 8 now. She was polite, soft-spoken, and the kind of kid who apologized when other people bumped into her. She drew pictures everywhere, on napkins, on sticky notes, on the back of receipts. She wanted to be included so badly it made my chest ache. And my family treated her like she was optional. Not a full grandkid, not a full niece, just my kid. And because I was adopted, they acted like I was still the extra branch on the tree, the one they could prune anytime they felt like it. When my influencer career started to take off, my mom's attitude changed. Not toward me, really. Toward what I could do for her. She called, crying one night about her stress. She said she was behind on bills. She said the credit cards had gotten out of hand. I remember sitting on my couch after Harper went to bed, staring at my laptop, listening to my mom's sniffles like she was the victim of some invisible robbery. "I'm so embarrassed," she said. "I don't know what happened. It just built up." I asked how much. She whispered it, as if it might disappear if she said it softly. $240,000. I literally laughed once, because my brain couldn't process it. Then I realized she wasn't exaggerating. She said it was medical bills, home repairs, helping Daniel when he needed it, and then the smaller things she tried to pretend were nothing. Shopping, trips, gift sprees every December to look generous. She said, "I was trying to keep this family together, Christopher." That line should have been my warning. Instead, I did what I always did. I tried to earn my place. I said I'd help. Not because I had that kind of money sitting around. I didn't, but I had steady income, and I had access to better rates and balance transfer offers because I managed my credit carefully. So we made a plan. A big, ugly plan. I refinanced part of it. I negotiated settlements on others. I moved balances. I set up autopay. My mom begged me to be added to the accounts just to manage everything. "It'll be easier," she said. "I get confused. You're so good at this stuff." So I ended up on her credit card accounts. Not as a casual authorized user for a gas card, but as someone attached to the mess. As someone responsible if it went sideways. For 3 years, I sent money like a steady drip. Some months, it was $6,500. Some months, it was $8,000. Once, when a brand deal paid early, I threw $20,000 at one card just to watch the balance finally drop under 6 figures. I kept a spreadsheet. I kept receipts. I kept screenshots of confirmation numbers, because deep down I didn't trust anyone, including my own mother. Daniel knew I was helping. He'd call it Chris's Little Hero Project. He'd say it like a joke at barbecues. "Hey, don't worry, Mom," he'd laugh. "Christopher will pay it. He's our family ATM." My mom would do that tight little smile and say, "Oh, hush." But she never told him to stop. Not once. And while I was paying off her debt, they still treated Harper like she was a guest. They'd buy Daniel's kids matching pajamas and get Harper a clearance toy. They'd plan grandkid photos and somehow forget to tell me the time. They'd talk about inheritance right in front of me and then say, "Well, you know how it is," as if adoption came with a fine print clause. I swallowed it all because I kept thinking, if I'm reliable enough, they'll love me like I belong. That's the trap of being adopted into a family that never fully decided you were theirs. You keep auditioning even when you're exhausted. After the restaurant thing, Harper fell asleep on the drive home, her card still in the gift bag, her cheek pressed against the window. I carried her inside and put her in bed with her sketchbook tucked under her arm. Then I went downstairs, sat at my kitchen table, and opened my laptop. I didn't cry. I didn't rant to friends. I didn't post anything. I just pulled up my spreadsheet. 3 years of payments. 3 years of me trying to buy my way into real. The final total at the bottom was almost surreal. $240,000 paid. Not promised. Not intended. Paid. I stared at that number and realized something simple. They weren't forgetting I was adopted. They were using it. Real children. That wasn't a slip. That was a weapon they kept sharpened for moments when they wanted to remind me I could be put back in my place. And if I wasn't real, then I didn't need to be real responsible for my mom's accounts anymore. I looked at my phone and saw the little thread with Daniel's text. Still sitting there like a bruise. Immediate family only. Real children only. Fine. I could do immediate. I could do real. I could do one clean move and let it speak for itself. The next morning, Harper ate cereal at the counter and tried to act normal. But she didn't bring up Grandma. That alone made me feel sick. Kids don't stop talking about someone they love unless something tells them it isn't safe. I poured coffee, opened my banking app, and looked at the auto payments connected to my mom's accounts. There were 3. A weekly payment to Card A, a bi-weekly payment to Card B, and a monthly payment to Card C that hit like a hammer on the 1st of every month. I hovered over the cancel buttons. My finger didn't shake. My stomach did, because a part of me still wanted to believe that if I held the money steady, the love would eventually follow. But Harper's small voice from last night played in my head. Did I do something wrong? I canceled all 3 one by one. Each time, a confirmation screen popped up. Your scheduled payment has been canceled. I took screenshots. Then I called the bank. I put my earbuds in so Harper wouldn't hear the hold music and ask questions. When the representative came on, I kept my voice calm. "Hi," I said. "I'm on a joint credit card account with my mother. I need to be removed from the account immediately." She asked for verification. I gave it. She asked why. I could have. 3 years reduced to a shrug. A favor she didn't request. A choice I made alone. A burden I had volunteered for. Not something she owed gratitude for. Not something that made me family. Just something she felt entitled to. I kept my voice calm because I didn't want to give her the satisfaction of calling me emotional. "I'm not your backup bank anymore," I said. "If I'm not real family, I'm not real financial support." She started crying. Not quiet crying. The dramatic kind. The kind that used to make me cave when I was younger because I hated feeling like I made my mom sad. But this time, all I felt was tired. "You're abandoning me," she sobbed. "No," I said. "I'm protecting my kid." Then she changed tactics. "What am I supposed to do now?" she demanded. "They're going to charge fees." You'll have to call the bank and set up your own payments," I said. "You know I don't understand that stuff," she snapped. I almost said, "You understood it when you were spending it." But Harper's face flashed in my head and I kept it simple. "You'll figure it out," I said, "or Daniel will help. He's the real child. Then I ended the call. I didn't slam the phone down. I didn't block her right away. I just set it on the table and stared at my hands. My hands weren't shaking anymore. That felt new. The fallout came fast. My phone looked like a slot machine. Calls from my mom, calls from Daniel, texts from cousins I hadn't talked to in months. A message from my dad that was all caps, like he was trying to scare me back into place. You can't do this to your mother. I didn't answer. By the afternoon, Daniel showed up at my house. He didn't knock politely. He pounded. I checked my camera first, because I wasn't going to let him stomp into my space like he owned it. When I opened the door, he stood there with that familiar expression. Not concern. Outrage. Like I had stolen from him personally. You're out of line, he said. Her cards are getting declined everywhere. She's embarrassed. I leaned against the doorframe. Behind me, Harper was in the living room coloring, quiet as a mouse. I'd told her we had a grown-up talk at the door. Daniel glanced past me like he was looking for her, then looked back at me. You did this because you didn't get invited to a dinner, he scoffed. I kept my voice low. I did it because you humiliated my daughter, I said, and because you called me not real. Daniel rolled his eyes like a teenager. Oh my God, he said. You're still on that? You know, Mom gets sensitive. We didn't want drama on her birthday. I stared at him. You didn't want me there, I corrected. He shrugged. We wanted it simple. You wanted it funded, I said. His face twitched because he knew. He knew how much I'd been paying. He knew I'd cleaned up her mess. And he still thought he could talk to me like I was lucky to be allowed near them. Daniel took a step closer and lowered his voice like he was trying to be persuasive. Just call the bank and fix it, he said. She'll calm down and we'll move on. I nodded slowly. No, I said. He blinked. What? I'm done, I said. I'm done paying for a family that treats me and my kid like we're optional. He scoffed again. You're being dramatic. I smiled once tight. I'm being consistent, I said. You said real children only. So I removed myself from being responsible for her debt. Real kids don't get used like that. Daniel's mouth opened like he wanted to launch into a speech. But Harper's laugh floated from the living room, soft and unaware. Daniel heard it. His eyes flicked past me again, and for a split second I saw annoyance. Like my child's presence was an inconvenience. That was all I needed. I straightened and said, clear and calm, you need to leave. Daniel stared at me like he couldn't believe I was saying it out loud. This is Mom's money, he snapped. No, I said. It was her debt, and it was my money paying it. That's over. He pointed at me like I was a stranger. You're going to regret this, he said. I held his gaze. Maybe, I said, but Harper won't. Then I closed the door. I locked it, and I stood there for a moment, breathing like I'd just run upstairs. Not because I was scared, but because it felt like stepping out of a storm and realizing the air was finally still. That night, my mom sent a long text. It was paragraphs of guilt, of rewriting history, of calling me ungrateful, of reminding me how lucky I was they adopted me. That line used to work on me like a leash. This time it just made me feel empty, because who says that to their kid? Who keeps receipts on love like that? I didn't reply. Instead, I went to Harper's room. She was sitting on her bed with her sketchbook open. She'd drawn our little car outside the restaurant, and in the picture, she and I were holding hands. The restaurant windows were big and bright. Inside, she'd drawn stick figures at a table, but she'd made their faces blank. No eyes, no smiles, just empty circles. My chest squeezed. I sat beside her. Hey, I said softly, can I ask you something? She nodded without looking up. Did it hurt? I asked, when Uncle Daniel said that stuff. Harper's pencil paused. She shrugged. Tiny. Then she said very quietly, I think Grandma doesn't like me. I swallowed hard. That's not because of you, I said. That's because Grandma has problems with her own heart. Harper glanced at me, uncertain. Am I still your real kid? She asked. My throat closed. I wrapped an arm around her shoulders. The realist, I said. The only thing that matters. She leaned into me like she'd been holding her breath all week. Then she whispered, "Can we do our own birthday thing for her?" I almost laughed. Of course. She still wanted to be kind. That was Harper. I kissed the top of her head. "We're going to do our own thing," I said. "But not for her." Harper's brow furrowed. "For who?" "For us," I said. The next few days were loud in my phone and quiet in my house. My mom tried calling from different numbers. Daniel's wife left a voicemail about family values. My dad texted again, demanding I make things right. And then the messages got more desperate, because it wasn't just embarrassment at the grocery store. It was reality. Without my payments, the balances started climbing again. Late fees hit, interest hit, and my mom, who had gotten used to living like the debt didn't exist, ran face first into it. A week after the birthday dinner, I got a text from my mom that was short and sharp. "Mom, the bank says I have to set up a payment plan or they'll lower my limit. I need you to come with me." I stared at it for a while. Then I typed one sentence. "Me, you'll need to handle your accounts yourself." She replied immediately, "Mom, after everything we did for you." There it was again, the adoption card, the "you owe us for choosing you" card. I didn't argue. I didn't defend myself. I just replied, "Me, I won't fund a family my child isn't part of." Then I put my phone face down. The consequences were messy, but predictable. My mom told everyone I abandoned her. Daniel told people I was punishing Mom for attention. Someone even implied my influencer career made me entitled, which was funny, considering they were the ones who felt entitled to my money. A couple of cousins unfollowed me. A couple sent quiet messages like, "I'm sorry. I saw what happened." My Aunt Linda called me one evening and said carefully, "Your mother's having a hard time." I asked, "Is she having a hard time because she misses Harper or because her cards don't work?" Aunt Linda went quiet. That answer was enough. Have you ever had to choose between your blood family and the family you're building? Or had to draw a hard line to protect your peace? I'd love to hear your thoughts down in the comments. What would you have done?